You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
Here we are, folks. Truth Central, truth and satire, but truth nonetheless. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. You are here live if you're on the preparedmind.club. You're here live if you're on subscribestar.com. That's the two gateways to get into the information world known as the Prepared Mind Network. Welcome back. Now, we got a lot going on, folks. A lot of Americans are extremely pissed off, and rightly so. I'm one of them. I really am, folks. Let me get this thing fixed. There we go. Yeah, I really am. I'm extremely frustrated, annoyed, and pissed off at where we're at in the year 2022. I expected, as a young man, as I learned about the Constitution, our history and law, as I was chided by teachers, corrected by my parents, told to be good, obey the law, yada, yada, yada. Turns out the older I get, the more I see that that's just a bunch of bullshit that we're supposed to live by. Well, it's actually not. It's what we're supposed to live by. But the people in charge, right? They're the ones who ignore it and treat it like crap and crap all over the rules that the rest of us have to play by. So what do we do about it? We get prepared. And then we prep to action. Prep to action. Folks, the whole Trump business is big news still. We're going to talk about it and other things. Get your questions into Jolene. Get them in now, please. Now, Trump is suggesting that the FBI was planting evidence. Now, the former president's son, Eric Trump, said it's all a coordinated attack with the FBI. A coordinated attack. He says, do you think that the FBI director is going to raid the former president's house, especially a house, as you know, kind of world-renowned as Mar-a-Lago, is a place as public as Mar-a-Lago is without getting the approval of President Biden? Folks, they did not turn off the security cameras. The FBI kicked everyone out and said, turn off those security cameras. Well, Eric said that the FBI was raiding areas of the property they should not have been. They saw this because they didn't turn off the security cameras. Now, the president said the FBI blocked his lawyers from the property during the raid, right? And suggested they may have planted evidence. Here's what he said. The FBI and others from the federal government would not let anyone, including my lawyers, be anywhere near the areas that were rummaged and otherwise looked at during the raid. Everyone was asked to leave the premises. They wanted to be left alone without any witnesses to see what they were doing, taking, or hopefully not planting. I want to ask you this. This is John asking you this. Do you and should America believe anything the FBI says, or anything Christopher Wray or Ruby Rod Rosenstein or anyone from the FBI, the Justice Department, the Attorney General's office, or Washington, D.C., anyone in D.C. says? Should we believe anyone? The answer to me is a resounding, echoing no. They all lie. Why should we believe any of them? Right? Now, on top of the Mar-a-Lago raid, Trump was summoned to the Attorney General's office, not of Washington, D.C., but New York City. And Trump released a statement which reads in part, accordingly, under the advice of my counsel, and for all the above reasons, I decline to answer the questions under the rights and privileges afforded to every citizen under the United States Constitution. I did nothing wrong, which is why after 5 years of looking, the federal, state, and local governments, together with the fake news media, have found nothing. We cannot permit a renegade and out-of-control prosecutor to use this investigation as a means of advancing her political career. Speaking of Letitia James, Attorney General for New York, if a crime has been committed, charge Trump. That's me talking, by the way. Stop asking Americans to incriminate themselves, right? Wasn't there something about an American's right to be secure in their papers and property? So now they just come to your house and they steal your papers and your property and use them against you in a court. Folks, the system is beyond corrupt. It's beyond broken. The real fight is coming. The fight is between patriots of freedom and tyrants of big government. Are you prepared? This fight is coming, folks. They're openly coming after the President of the United States. What makes you think they'll stop at your door and knock? What makes you think they'll stop anywhere? They're just going to keep going until they are stopped. Now, this development was very interesting. There's a reason that is being given. There's several reasons, lots of theories. But on January 19th in 2021, President Trump declassified a binder that contained hundreds of pages about an FBI scandal. It was called Crossfire Hurricane. It contained damaging notes, information about corrupt government officials. Two different Department of Justice attorney generals have defied President Trump's direct lawful order to publish this binder. It's been 19 months, folks, and the Department of Justice defies that order still, and every Freedom of Information Act request to make it public. Should someone be raiding the homes of Monty Wilkerson and Merrick Garland to find out what they're hiding and why they're hiding it and see if we can get some information to prosecute them with? Isn't it funny how we have to answer to the government, but the government never has to answer to us, right? At least 3 Department of Justice attorneys for Merrick Garland participated in the FBI raid that lasted 9 hours, right? They kept Trump's attorneys from the building. They would not show anyone at that time the search warrant. Since when are you not allowed to be in your own house when the police are there? It makes no sense. Oh, for their safety. Really, for their safety, all the cops with all the guns while they go through your house, they need to be protected? We need more details on all of this. And I want to say thanks to Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch, who is continuing to fight these people along with the rest of us. Wake up, America. We're in the fight for our lives right now. We're in the fight for our lives. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I want to touch on this, folks. All over America, protests are being formed right now. Right? There's one that's been announced August 14th, 1 p.m. at 2222 Market Street in downtown St. Louis. They're going to hold a rally against the Stasi, Gestapo, FBI. People are pissed, and rightly so, because we see that if the president can't be protected, then nobody can be protected. Nobody at all. It is that scary with these people, folks. It's that scary. And there's a lot of similarities, folks, being drawn between this Gestapo, Stasi, KGB move by the Nazi Democrats. And it's not coming from an American. No, this is quite different. People around the world are very aware of this. And the Israel National News contributor has labeled this raid, the FBI raid, on Trump's home as Kristallnacht. Right? They say the U.S. is no longer a democracy. Folks, it never was a democracy or meant to be a democracy. It is a constitutional republic. But be that as it may, and while the two are used interchangeably by people who are ignorant of the distinction between them, right? They're noticing, folks, what is going on. Everyone around the world. Now, what is Kristallnacht, right? Well, that was a pre-World War II Nazi Germany attack on the people. Crystal Night, Crystal Knocked, where they went and broke glass everywhere, right? Destroyed everything. Right? It was the opening salvo of fascism, which began the extermination of Jews and the German Republic back on November 9th, 1938. They're showing a real close, right? They're pointing out something very important. November 9th, 1938, it got very bad, right? I believe that yesterday was a sad day for America. It's very bad. We're that close now, folks. It used to be, yeah, it's a long ways away. It's very close now to us being in an all-out partisan conflict. Some might call it civil war. But you just won't believe it, folks. Right? Trump is going to fight back on this. We all need to fight back. You won't believe, folks, how right these leftists think they are. They think they're 100% in the right, that this is the exact same thing that should be done to all of us. All of us. Folks, I've looked at left-wing lunatic posts. They are ecstatic. They're using the mainstream media to continue this lie. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Folks, by the way, computer has weighed in, right? The HAL 9000. I think a lot of you probably are old enough to know who HAL was. Facebook's new artificial intelligence chatbot has said, I do believe that it was rigged. I think he did win. Well, this computer was referring to the 2020 fiasco with Trump. That's funny. I wonder what the computer used as information. Apparently the computer, Facebook's AI chatbot, apparently it's ignored lies. It's found facts. It saw overwhelming evidence. Right? Does the computer know that government lies? Does the computer know that mainstream media lies? Well, it knows something. Quite interesting. I know it's not even anecdotal evidence, but I think it's overwhelming evidence that if a computer weighs the credibility and volume, clearly people shouting fraud did a more convincing job. And I would think that a current modern AI computer chatbot would be nonpartisan. Wouldn't it be interesting, though, that if you asked one of these new AI, artificial intelligence smart bots, which system of government provides the most security and happiness for human beings, I'm sure it would explain very well that the American Republic, our constitutional republic, offers the best opportunity for humans to live freely, safely, securely. Unbelievable, folks. It really is. Everything that's going back. I mean, what is going on? Right? You're just not going to believe this. What's going on with Trump, right? We, the people, we don't want lies and propaganda. Right? We don't want to be convinced to support a foreign war. We don't want to be robbed and told that it's patriotic to allow it. We want facts. This computer got enough information to make a decision. We, the people, we want facts so we can decide for ourselves. We want to tell our representatives in D.C. to support us, not a fake foreign war of wealth gathering for the rich, right? It's a big FU to CBS, ABC, MSNBC, CNN, and Fox. Nobody believes their lies. We figured you out in mainstream media. We figured out what's happening. CBS, folks, tried to erase the reality that they exposed. Right? The reality is that over in Ukraine, the weapons we're sending aren't making it to the front. Not all of them. And we don't know, and they don't know, and nobody knows where they're all going. Right? CBS did kind of an expose, and now they're doing a full 180 reversal, folks. Right? This report has been being built since April. Right? And it just shows again and again that Ukrainian troops in the videos were rebelling against the incompetent chain of command. They're not getting the weapons they needed to fight. The money being sent over there isn't taking care of the war. And we're continuing to be lied to about what is going on and what the status is of everything. We're sick of being lied to, right? Just absolutely sick and tired of it, right? But they're going to continue pushing, folks. Understand this. They're going to continue pushing their lies about Trump. They're going to continue pushing lies about you as patriots, right? And they're going to continue to make someone else the bad guy. Now, Zelensky, right, wants to ban all Russians from traveling around the world. Who is this guy, Zelensky? He is a fruitcake who dresses like Freddie Mercury in music videos and dances. He is an actor, a washed-up comedian who somehow was foisted to the front, very much like Hitler was really not, folks. He was foisted. Hitler was pushed to the top of the Nazi Party. Zelensky has been pushed to the top of the pile of people who were overthrowing, committing a coup d'etat, an insurrection of the actual legitimate Ukrainian government back in 2014. And now he's telling the world what it needs to do. And some European Union member states are backing him. Folks, the call to isolate Russia and its citizens came the same day that the Pentagon and the Biden administration unveiled another massive, huge, off-the-charts defense package, right? Ramping up the military side, military equipment, $1 billion, and another $4 billion just in general aid. Interesting, right? Zelensky formally thanked Biden in a message. I'm sure he did thank him. Zelensky in the statement said Russian citizens should, quote, live in their own world until they change their philosophy before being allowed to travel, right? And he said, they'll understand then, right? Everyone needs to be punished while this little turd does his Vogue shoots, right? Voldemort argued that banning all Russians from traveling would send a powerful deterrent message, while also urging Europe to pull the trigger on a total Russian energy ban. At the same time, Zelensky called Western sanctions weak. This guy is a dangerous lunatic. If he had nuclear weapons, do you think he would use them? Right? There's a reason they're not giving them serious long-range missiles, because he'll use them. Right? Estonia and Finland agreed with Zelensky. European countries, right, should stop issuing tourist visas to Russian citizens. Said they should not be able to take vacations in Europe while the Russian government carries out a war in Ukraine. Folks, I read reports that all over Europe, there are Ukraine license plates staying at bed and breakfasts, fancy hotels. Right? These people have fled the country, taking all their money, right, that they made. The ones that can travel fled. Right? It's incredible. But we're supposed to punish everyone else. Everyone else is supposed to suffer and give Zelensky money. Isn't he amazing? Isn't Zelensky amazing? He took time out of his Vogue photo shoot, I'm sure, to make more demands for money and for the world to suck up to him and agree with him. What part of that, folks, sounds right to you? Unbelievable. I mean, let's just come back to America. Who is running this country? Well, it's supposed to be you and I, the people. And we're supposed to tell the government what it needs to do for us on our behalf. Well, Liz Cheney went back to her people in Wyoming to talk to them. And she gave a speech, folks. And it's a little chicken shit speech in a little group. But the group listening looks rather disgusted. They're not happy with her. See, this is the difference between Washington politics and Main Street America. People on Main Street back home don't like what they're doing in Washington, but once they get to Washington, they don't give a shit. Right? Liz Cheney is nuts. She's corrupt. The people back home don't appreciate it. They're waking up. Help people wake up. Send this address, the internet address, out there so they can wake up and realize, yeah, this doesn't pass the smell test. It doesn't. Just like Dr. Fauci and those who want to support the Cerveza bug scare show.
And not just to think about, well, my freedom is being kind of disturbed here. No, screw your freedom.
There comes a time when you do have to give up what you consider your individual right of making your own decision.
That's right. Screw your freedom. They're going to make the decisions for us, folks. And guess what the consequences are of that? There's an official report coming out of San Diego, California. The report shows 67%, that's 2 out of every 3 people, 67% of deaths where people have Cerveza bug. They're fully juicinated and fully boosted, folks. Fully juicinated and boosted individuals make up 2 out of every 3 people. So does that mean that you're twice as likely to die because you've taken it? Well, that's what the statistics show. There's 3 people. They all died from Cerveza bug. 2 of them are fully juiced. 1 of them wasn't. I thought this was supposed to make symptoms less painful. I thought this was supposed to help people get over it quicker. They're not even calling it a VAXXINE. They're not even calling it that. Unbelievable, folks. 2 out of 3. You're out of the dead people, twice as many. Unbelievable. These people, folks, there's no shame. Right? There's no shame. An Ohio medical student dies suddenly due to a heart issue during a 3-day bike ride for cancer research. This is not an old man. This is not someone who is sick. And a medical student, right? A college student. Guess again, folks, what caused this? Suddenly dies of a heart issue. Surprise? Well, we should be, folks. We should be. Right now, get this. The little turd, Dr. Fauci, laughs about making Cerveza bug in his kitchen. Oh, yeah. 12-year-old Clayton middle schooler dies. A 12-year-old boy dies following football practice due to a severe medical emergency. Take a guess. You go ahead and guess. His family's grieving, and Fauci laughs about making Cerveza bug in his kitchen. That's right, folks. Oh, there's more to this. There's more, right? This guy gets to make jokes and sit on panels and do interviews. He's getting all kinds of money. I want to talk about another doctor, Dr. Fauci, everyone's favorite mental microscopic midget brain doctor. I'm really pleased Dr. Fauci can have a good laugh. He's worked so hard the last 40 years not to cure AIDS, not to cure anything. Fauci worked hard torturing dogs in his experiment, drugging them, having parasites live at them and they can't move or do anything about it. He's responsible for that. The gain of function, biological warfare stuff. Oh yeah, Fauci was in on that and he's denied it while admitting it, while denying it, while admitting it. You know, he's worked so hard. He deserves a good laugh. He worked really hard planning on a pandemic and then it happened. And he worked really hard scaring people the same way he scared everyone over AIDS in the 1980s. Fauci worked really hard saying no masks, then mask mandates, then no mask, then mask up, then double mask. Flip-flopping all over. He worked very hard to flip-flop. Fauci worked hard to shut down travel and close businesses, destroying lives dreams, fortunes, hopes, and futures. That's hard work to stop that for 350 million Americans and everyone else around the planet that had to put up with the recommendations this little clown made. Fraudzy worked hard, folks, to send contaminated people to rest homes and to push 100% of the population into just a few stores instead of using all the stores to keep distance. Instead, he pushed them into the same stores together. So they were all exposed to one another while claiming it was beneficial and safe to do just that and stand around in line for hours and make everyone afraid and paranoid of one another. That's hard work to do that, folks. One little man did all this work. He worked really hard to save people. Then Dr. Fraudzy worked really hard to mandate an mRNA technology that was tested on animals already, but wait, no, they weren't, and pretended it was a new salvation, a new cure. Oh, he worked hard, folks. Yes, Fraudzy worked hard to make mandates real and keep the emergency from ending and create an eternal pandemic that we still suffer under today. Everyone suffers, everyone pays through the nose for no reason other than to satisfy this sadistic little prick. F-U fraud C. That's where we're at, folks. That's how bad these people are. And I want to end, right? I'm doing my 30-minute monologue, and you guys get your question in. Get your question in. But understand, folks, people are aware of what's going on, and they survived it. A woman who escaped communism, she and her mother, arrested for false crimes from January 6th, showed up the night that Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence was stormed. These women, folks, mother and daughter, escaped communism and are now discovered they're out of the frying pan and into the fire. The United States government, the DC government, is a powerful, evil tyranny now. They escaped communism, folks. They're here and escaped communists who came to America, right? They're free people who escaped from communism, coming here to be free, are now seeing the very same tactics being employed, folks. Being employed. History repeats itself. Some say it only rhymes. I say it repeats. Democrats are using the tactics that the scumbag Bolshevik Marxists used in 1917, right? And they've begun their final assault, folks. SHTF, the Great Reset, right? Years of preparatory work were spent in misleading and misdirecting propaganda, right? They contested, they screwed with all of the elections. Claims that the poor were going to be disenfranchised, right? It's horrifying, folks. The same exact things are being claimed, right? Delusional, cunning, conniving campaigns making unrealistic promises to win the population over. That's what the Democrats have been doing with their people, promising them everything and not telling them the truth, right? Anger and mob violence were deliberately stirred up against the privileged in Russia, and now it's being stirred up against us. Deceptive claims, right, about voter issues and all kinds of stuff, right? This is what the scumbag Marxists did. Everything we're seeing, class division, class warfare, and only they're involving generational issues, generational divisiveness, gender divisiveness, hell, cultural divisiveness, saying genders don't even exist. Everything they're doing, folks, is to transform. It's the transformation of one country to another. That's what the Democrats are doing, right? These socialists have been using these techniques now for well over 100 years, back into the 1800s, folks. It didn't just happen along in 1917, 1918. Communism has been around a long time. It was given that name by Karl Marx. But it is a disgusting political system that destroys humans. And what are the Democrat Party doing? They're destroying humans medically, socially, politically. That's what they're doing. Are you prepared, folks, to deal with what they are going to do to us next? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. I want to know what you want to talk about. I want to know what's on your mind. It's now your turn. If you haven't got a question in yet, you've got plenty of time. Get your questions in and let's talk.
Are you ready?
All right. Welcome back. Here we are. Now, folks, we have to be careful about what's going on out there in the world, right? We have a lot of fake news that tries to get in. We have to be very careful. We have to be careful when we talk because we don't want to get in trouble, folks. Like, for example, there's breaking news right now about the government resigning in Japan. There's breaking news about people taking over governments in certain countries. And it turns out a lot of times these are not true. So we try and really confirm a lot of the things we discuss because we don't want to be called fake news. We don't intentionally mislead and lie about things on this channel, right? We try and bring a satirical perspective to what is happening, but we want to make sure what we talk about is true. But yeah, let's keep an eye on what's happening. Get your questions in. Ask questions about people, places, subjects, history, the future. What was being done? I mean, what's really on your mind? What's bothering you about the Trump raid? What is it? For lots of different people, it's little things. They're like, I don't like this particular detail, and that bothers me. Let me know what you have to say. Okay, Jolene, let's get to some questions now. And we got Sally Sue. And Sally Sue writes, John, my husband says no matter who wins in 2024, we will see big trouble from the losing party. Tension is building. Anger is boiling over. Will we make it to the 2024 election? Well, that remains to be seen, Sally Sue. We have to get through the 2022 election. Then we've got 2 more years of America. And you're right. Your husband is right, I believe. No matter what, we're going to see complaining from either party, the losing party, not just in 2024, but in 2022. Right? We've seen just in the primaries for the Republicans, Democrats chiming in saying, oh, yeah, Kari Lake stole the election. They came in the middle of the night and did a vote drop, right? A ballot drop. Because that's what Kari Lake does. That's what Republicans do. No, I think it was the other way around. That's what Democrats have done. And there's video evidence of it. There are witness reports of it being done. That's pretty damning stuff. There is evidence, newsroom evidence showing numbers being flipped from one candidate to another. They just reported it. Oh, yeah, this candidate's now winning. With no evidence because, well, you can't check the ballots. You can't question the results. It's unbelievable. Folks, back in 1987, I wrote a program, computer programs. I was just a kid in high school. I wrote a computer program for a trivia game that asked a question, and the operator made a selection. At the end, the computer tabulated the results, gave a percentage, the number of right, the number of wrong, and it was simple. Why is it that 35 plus years later, in 2022, why is it that 35 years later, they can't write a computer program that doesn't require someone to go in and say, oh, there's a glitch in the system. And we're hearing this about these voting machines right now. Oh, there's a glitch. There's an error. How hard is it to write a simple program that says vote for this person or this person, and then send that information right here to say, well, this person got 5,000 votes, this person got 4,000 votes. Now we know. Why is it so difficult? I, as a kid, was able to do it, and marvelously well, I have to say, back in 1987. It's because they need there to be glitches so they can go in there and manually fix things. Yes, am I saying that they're cheating? Yes. They're lying, cheating, and stealing. And we were told by Democrats they're going to do that. So will we survive to make it to 2024, Sally Sue? I don't know. This country is coming apart right now very fast, just warming up for the 2022. Now, here's my prediction. The FBI lies, and then they're going to lie some more, and they're going to keep lying, but they don't really have a criminal charge for Trump. After 5 years plus, you'd think they'd have something, as he said, right? They've been coming after him for 5 years and found nothing. Now, all of a sudden, they're going to find a crime in the fact that there's a piece of paper. Folks, Barack Hussein, Barry Soetoro Obama cleared out, I don't even know how many boxes of materials for himself. And they went to Chicago, and they have not been turned over. They haven't been uploaded. They're not part of the official record. But Trump, right, they're going to go to his house and look for evidence of him having a piece of paper that he shouldn't have. Well, the belief is, the Crossfire Hurricane paperwork is what they're looking for. We really have some big problems, folks. We're not even at the 2022 election, and they're trying to once again disqualify President Trump for an election that isn't for over another 2 years. They're that desperate. They're that scared. They're that insistent. And they believe, folks, that they have a right to do what they're doing. They'll lie, cheat, and steal. They've told us that in the past. Democrats just come right out and say it. It's unbelievable where we're at. Are you prepared? And Trump is not going to save us, folks. He's not Jesus. He's not King Arthur. He's Donald Trump. We need to take action. We need to get prepared. We need to prep to action. We need to step up. We need to start telling everyone, right, the facts as we see them. Ask people, is it really what you believe? And I think, folks, that when you look around and ask people to look around and go, how well are you doing? You know, how many presidents had their homes ransacked by the FBI while a Republican was in office? The answer for over 200 years of American history is zero. Zero. Right? This is the first time the media, the bureaucracy, and the elected officials in Washington, D.C. are out of their gourds. They are power mad and angry. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible what is going on. Right? I mean, where do we go? How do we fix this? It's not easy. Right? Nancy Pelosi has decided unilaterally, all by herself in Congress, to extend her unconstitutional voting scheme or proxy voting scheme. They're stepping outside of the law and just making up rules and doing what they want, and they're getting away with it. If they're willing to do it right in the Capitol building with witnesses, they're willing to be lawless there about how they're voting for rules and laws in Washington, D.C. Folks, what do you think they're going to do when no one is watching and no one is listening? You know, again, there's something that's age-old proverb, right? That, you know, doing the right thing means doing the right thing even when nobody's looking. These people are doing the wrong things while everybody's looking. They're not even being sneaky. Right? They're just being absolutely brazen. Do you think this is going to get better for us, for everyone? I really don't. I don't see it getting better because these people won't stop. They won't stop. I've got, let's go over this, right? We heard all about Trump. And I think what they're doing is they're trying to scare everyone. It's a big part of it, the scare tactic. They want to scare people into not voting and into believing that the government's going to come and get them, that they're all powerful. They're not. So not only did they go after Trump, they went after a congressman, folks, a Republican congressman, Representative Scott Perry, congressman in the United States. Well, guess what, folks? Joe Biden's FBI apprehended him, seized his phone. This comes one day after the raid, right? This is what he said, quote, "This morning while traveling with my family, 3 FBI agents visited me and seized my cell phone. They made no attempt to contact my lawyer, who would have made arrangements for them to have my phone if it was their wish. I'm outraged, though not surprised, that the FBI, under the direction of Merrick Garland's DOJ, Department of Justice, would seize the phone of a sitting member of Congress. My phone contains info about my legislative and political activities, personal and private discussions with my family, wife, constituents, and friends. None of this is the government's business." And that last line, I think, is important. None of this is the government's business. You would think that everything is the government's business by the way they act. Now, I've had a conversation this weekend with a defense contractor employee who works for the federal government or works under contract with the federal government regarding cybersecurity and cyber warfare. It was quite interesting, and I'm still kind of digesting all the information. The government really doesn't know as much as they pretend they know. The government really isn't as powerful as they pretend that they are. Their technological prowess isn't as comprehensive as they would pretend or have you believe. That's why they're so scared. They needed to go and get this guy's phone, a congressman's phone, and take it from him. That's right, folks. They don't have the ability to just hack in at any time and steal your information and data. That's why the government, right, loves Facebook, and they love, folks, social media, because they can get information about us. Otherwise, they can't. Right. Anyways, I thought that was a terrific topic. Thank you very much. Yeah, we've got problems, folks. Will we make it to 2024? I sure hope so. But there's going to be problems all along the way, and they have just now begun to show how bad they are and how desperate the government is, the Biden government, how desperate Washington, D.C. is, and scared about you. They're scared of what you know and what you believe because they can't control you. They can't. They can't control you. They can't control me. So they're afraid. And when dogs are afraid, they bite. And they're barking and biting now. Let's move on, if we shall. Who is next? We've got Timothy. He says, "Hey, John, as a young man, me and buddies go and vote, but we have no trust that we'll do anything. We focus on being ready and training for it to go up. Do you think this is a poor attitude for us? No, I don't think it's a poor attitude. Being cynical is something that I've been my whole life. And I think a healthy dose of cynicism about politics and politicians is a good thing. Now, to be completely cynical, I think, is unhealthy, and it's poor for the mind. But a healthy dose, folks, of cynicism, a healthy dose of skepticism is a good idea. And I think that you guys are wise in taking that attitude. Being young and inexperienced doesn't mean you should be young and naive. Just because someone claims to be an authority figure doesn't mean you should believe everything they have to say because they make great claims. I don't pretend to be all wise and all knowing, but I try to do my very best. How do we put this, right? To put to good work that which I know. And then I come out here and share it and say, hey, don't believe me, but think about it for yourself, right? Being ready, being prepared, and training for the potential problems. That's always a good idea, right? We now face in this country, in this world, the potential for World War III because of what's going on with Russia and China. So if you're not going to defend the country against the government doing a radical takeover by destroying our Constitution, right, that same training could come in handy for another country invading our country, right? We've got governments to worry about everywhere at every level, both foreign and domestic, right? I think that we would be wise to adhere to the wisdom in the Declaration of Independence and also the Federalist Papers. We would be wise because they explain exactly what tyranny is and how it needs to be dealt and handled. And those examples have stood. Those examples have stood for time. They're time tested because tyranny, right? Deceitful, lying, corrupt, evil governments is a tyranny. They continue to use the same means, methods, and operating procedures, regardless of whether it's the 18th century or the 19th century or the 20th century, and we're now in the 21st century, and they continue to use the same sneaky, shitty, evil, tyrannical techniques. So yeah, be prepared, be trained, go vote, yes. Fight, or shall I say, make arguments for freedom and liberty.
Are you ready?
Whoops. Make the arguments for freedom and liberty, but be prepared, right, for the very worst. Let us move on if we shall. We got Kelly. Yep, it's me, AKA Water Trucks. Oh my God, that 12-year-old boy goes to my daughter's school. Such a tragedy. The entire community is devastated by the loss of this boy. VAX proponents are saying it wasn't the VAX, but many others are saying it was. Either way, we are just stunned and saddened. I'm very sad, disgusted, upset that this has happened to this boy and many others, folks. And to have it happen to someone you know or someone close to you brings it home, folks. It really brings it home. I'm going to see if I can pull that story back up again. There we go. 12-year-olds do not die of heart attacks. They don't die from severe medical emergencies just doing what 12-year-olds do. This boy's name was Braden Fahey, folks, a middle school kid. Right? Middle school is 6th, 7th, 8th grade. He was a football player. Died horribly. It's terrible. Right? He lived 2 days in the hospital and passed away. Right. I've got the story here. The entire community is rocked. Folks, where I came from in California, people died because of the Jim Jones juice. In fact, one person I knew, and I knew him very well, spent a lot of time with him. We all have trouble in life. This guy, I spent time talking about life with, he's a good guy. It's incredible, folks. Absolutely incredible what they're doing. And Dr. Fauci wants to make jokes. People are suffering. People are dying. People's health are failing. They're doing the best they can to get it, to deal with it. It's awful, folks. It's absolutely awful. And I'm sorry that that person goes to your daughter's school, but right, we all try and learn. Right, learn from the experiences. Okay, Jolene, what do we have up next? We've got Gary D, and he says, Harpeth Hall, an all-girls college prep school for grades 5 through 12, is now allowing biological males who identify as women to attend there. This madness is sickening to me. Thoughts? It is madness. It's perversion, sexual. It's perversion of the intellect. Right, folks, all things perverted do not have to be about the penis and the vagina. It's a perversion of the mind to believe that I identify as. It used to be, folks. And this is on. It used to honestly be considered a mental disorder to be a homosexual. Right? Something is wrong with you, is what the psychologists said. The doctors, the experts, folks, the experts. Science said if you're a homosexual, you've got a mental disorder. We were told that if you're a biological female and you want to dress as a male, that there's something wrong with your brain. The same goes for men who want to dress as women or think they're women. It was considered, folks, a mental illness. It wasn't worshiped. It wasn't respected. It just was what it was. But now we're being told that not only is it allowed and applauded for biological men to stand up and say they're women, but they have to be allowed. Their ridiculous belief system has to be believed, not because there's any fact to support it, but because the person says, well, I may have a penis, but I believe I'm a woman, that they have to be allowed into a women's school. See, the women's school, I guess they need to say XX chromosome school, not women's school, but XX chromosomes are allowed to attend here. Everyone else, not allowed. If you've got XY chromosomes, you're not allowed. And just leave out the whole woman thing. Make it all about science. I mean, there's no, folks, they're repeatedly having problems with it. This is being reported widely. It's absolutely being reported widely. What am I talking about? Men claiming to be women commit crimes, go to women's jail, and then assault, rape, impregnate other female XX chromosome inmates. I even believe that someone's been murdered, if I remember that correctly. Right? It's off the hook. It's ridiculous to not only take someone who was once regarded as being mentally deranged or having a mental illness. Now they are, lauded. They're worshipped, and we're told, oh, they're just amazing people. They're so brave for coming out and admitting, right? And we have to respect them and revere them, and we have to accept them. We have to make provisions for them. We have to expose ourselves not only to their ridiculous claims, but their perverted mentality. Right? You have to and this is incredible. Right? This is new, folks. This is not old. Well, maybe I should say the widespread issue is new. It used to be a very small percentage of people had these mental disorders, but now they're conditioning children. And that's what this is about. Conditioning young children that they too have a mental disorder, that you can have a penis, but you could be a girl. It's your choice to choose. It's perverted. They perverted the education system. They perverted science. They perverted politics. They perverted everything. Can you imagine, folks, this being done in 1980? Well, way back then, what did we have? Girls who wanted to be in Boy Scouts. Remember that? Girls wanted to be in Boy Scouts. Lawsuits. Massive lawsuits. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. There's an organization in the town that I once lived in. It applied for some grant money that other property owners were getting. But because it was a men's club, they were denied what? They were denied grant money because they were considered a prejudicial institution because it was a men's club. It was considered prejudicial against women. Therefore, the government said, well, you're treating people prejudicially, so you're not allowed in. Now we have all kinds of clubs and things, and it's anti-white here and anti-white this and anti-white that, and that's now accepted. The mayor of New York City, right, wants pictures of job applicants so they can determine and make sure that diversity, racial quotas are upheld. Right? They don't want to hire anybody that doesn't look right. This is all just off the hook stupid, folks. And we're seeing the consequences. I mean, when I was a boy, I thought, geez, Sodom and Gomorrah, when I read about that, oof, could it be that bad? Really? Lot's job was to find, 10 good people, 9 good people, 3 good men in Sodom and Gomorrah. One, he couldn't find one. I mean, the story about God just burning Sodom and Gomorrah, right? And the claim that they couldn't find, but one good man. I guess it makes sense, that's what we're seeing. There are fewer and fewer good people in charge, fewer and fewer people making good decisions. Is it any wonder that shit has hit the fan? And is it any wonder, folks, that cities won't be burned to the ground, incinerated due to the perversions that are out there? Let's do this. I think we got one more question that we want to get to before we check out for the day. And it is Blue Cord Devil. And he has a statement. He says, going to be gone for a few days. Have to take care of my beautiful wife. Cancer is spread to her liver. Telling her folks tomorrow, then Friday, see the doctor. Prayers, please. Thanks. Blue Cord Devil. Prayers to your wife that they can stop the cancer. They can treat her, return her to health, make her whole. Folks, prayers work. We've done this a few times. A few thousand prayers coming from this network of people. Truly, folks. I hate to hear that people are sick. Right? It just bothers me so much to know that we have so much to deal with in life as things stand, right? Without having all of the SHTF and having all of the government and all of the weirdos out there and fruitcakes and communists, right, causing extra trouble. Right? It's hard enough to get through life. Life is difficult enough. But I guess we are living in interesting times. And it's now our job, our duty, our responsibility to live through this. Right? I guess that's where we're at, is we get to deal with this and so much more. So I guess you guys deserve to be commended, for putting up with so much and for caring for so many and for fighting, right, for us all. This is about our country. It's about our lives. It's about who we are as a people. Are we going to just lay down and let these absolute reject, degenerate scumbags and fruitcakes take over? Or are we as Americans going to fight for our country? Are we going to allow people to steal our elections because they claim to be from a protected status group? Or are we going to take over and participate in what's going on so we can stop the crimes? We've got a lot of trouble. Down here in the South, people are irate. They're pissed off. They're ready to fight. They're ready to fight politically. They're ready to fight with their hands, with weapons, whatever it takes. That's how pissed off people are. And I guess we're going to get back to that, right? That's how this country was born. Right? The tree of liberty is watered with the blood of tyrants and patriots, right? Not just patriots and not just tyrants, everybody. And I think those times are coming again, right? Are you prepared? Thepreparedmind.club, folks, is our website where we sell everything we can. Everything to help you get prepared for the coming hard times. You bet. Folks, chance favors the prepared mind. Be lawful, be peaceful, be full of love, but also be prepared. Semper Fi. God bless America.